Why is everything so difficult, or at least seem to be so difficult? You might be surprised at the answer that God is maybe making it difficult. Hey, my name is Brian. Welcome to my garage Bible study. We're going to look at a passage in the book of Genesis that isn't looked at all that often. I think it's not looked at because we don't like it. At least I don't like it. It's called the Tower of Babel. We ever go blah, 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 or it sounds like Babel to me. It traces back to this story in Genesis chapter 11. If we know and understand what's going on here, it might actually help us have a more productive, more fulfilling life. Let's take a look at it. Genesis chapter 11, verse 1. Here it says, "Now the whole earth had one language and the same words. And as people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, 'Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly.' And they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. And then they said, 'Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth.'" So at this point, everybody's talking the same language. Boy, you can have English-speaking people in America, and we're not talking the same language. You got people of all different perspectives, all different values, and then we start adding in people who are immigrants from Guatemala or Honduras or wherever it is. You start adding in values and people from Germany and England, whatever, and it's just this cacophony of sound that's happening, but it wasn't always that way. Here in Genesis 11, everyone had the same language, and they could get stuff done. I know in team meetings that I'm in, very frequently, you say, "Wait, say that again. Wait, what do you mean by that? Talk more about that. Expand upon that." Because we don't innately understand where people are coming from. Here at this point in world history, they understood where things are coming from. And they said, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's take all of our ideas, all of our productivity, all of our wisdom, because we're working so well together as a team, and let's start building something really, really big. Let's start taking it higher and higher and higher and higher." It is true that if you're in an organization, whether it's a church or whether it is a business, if you have people who speak the same language, things will be easier. Not necessarily better, because we need to be around people who speak different languages and have different ideas and different perspectives, but you will move through things easier. And this is how that was working here in Genesis 11. They are moving through things. They're building things. It's going high. And they wanted, did you notice what they said here? They said, "Let us make a name for ourselves." The problem when you start getting really productive and effective and successful, no matter why you're doing what you're doing or why you started out, if you wanted to serve other people or you wanted to build into people or you wanted to bless the world, all good, noble reasons. The thing is, and I've been here before, as you pick up steam and as you grow, it's a very thin line between I'm doing the mission and I'm making a name for myself. It's a very thin line between having success and being known as a successful person. It's a very, very thin line between the mission and being a narcissist, thinking about yourself all the time, it always being about you. We'll never admit that. We might not even notice it. We're just kind of doing our thing. This is what's happening here in the world at this time. Let's keep going here. "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, 'Behold, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down there and confuse their language, so they may not understand one another's speech.'" They're one people. That's a good thing. We need to be one people in whatever organization that we're in. One people. Problem is, as we're one people, and as we start having more wins, more success, more growth, more achievements, we naturally think less about God and think about ourselves. You think about yourself. Are you prone to get on your knees and talk with God when you just hit the lottery? When your marriage is going amazing, if you're married, are you praying as much as you would have before about your marriage? If you're single, if you're happily single and you don't want to be married, are you praying the same amount as somebody who is single and actually wants to get married because they're waiting for that spouse? I don't think that we are. I think we are drawn to lean into God when we don't have the results that we need. There is an influence in our world that tears things down, that causes things to be difficult, that isn't only sin. That's part of it. But it's also the very hand of God trying to keep us humble. I am in a project right here with my motorcycle. I've got just stuff was bouncing around the front. I had a U-joint that was out of whack, and so when I was going over bumps and stuff, I could hear crunching, and it just wasn't a really good ride. So I've pulled all this stuff apart, and here's one thing I'm pretty sure about. I'm pretty sure that God doesn't work disrepair into inanimate objects like this. This thing will naturally break down on its own. But according to Genesis 11, God has, and God maybe even will right now, work disorder or set up a situation where there is chaos intentionally so that we get frustrated with our results and then lean into God. This is scandalous for those of us in the achievement cult, for those of us in the self-esteem cult, for those of us in the high productivity cult. This is scandalous. So we just assume, no, if I'm put my hand against it, it better go well and it better be awesome. And if it isn't going awesome, then something in the demonic realm is messing with it. No, it actually could be God. I lead a church. It's my day job. And I will tell you, man, the last couple of years, it's been a lot of blah, 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 blah. People not understanding things, who are in different places politically, not understanding one another based on the tone of their skin and their experiences as a white person or as a brown person. And we have to say, maybe this stuff has happened. We need to come against this. It's not good when we can't understand one another. But it may be that we're tripping in the exact thing that God wanted us to trip in, because it's almost like He has a governor on our productivity. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm about winning. I'm about going forward. I'm about advancing. I'm about being aggressive. I'm about building things. I'm not saying those things shouldn't be calling cards for us and passion points for us. What I'm saying is, when we're doing it and it's not going well, be very, very slow to blame it on evil. Be very, very slow to blame it on that other person who just isn't getting with the program. First, say, is this something that is hard because God has intentionally put an irritant in the system to make it difficult, so that I lean into Him, so that I pray, so that when things go really, really well, I know it wasn't because of me and teamwork. I know it was because of God. I think so. Let's keep going. Let's finish up the story here. Come, let us go down there and confuse their language so they may not understand one another's speech. Do you think we have a problem understanding one another here in America? I think we do. So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore, its name was called Babel, blah, 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 because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there the Lord dispersed them over the face of the earth. He thwarts their productivity. He even thwarts their community. He thwarts their communication so that they lean into Him, so that they are kept from being prideful. God says He exalts the humble and He brings down the prideful. One of the ways He does this is by making those of us who are success addicts, significance addicts, building addicts, frustrated over the lack of progress, because the most important thing God wants to build is your relationship to Him. It's not your organization, it's not your house, it's not your building, it's not your motorcycle. The most important thing God wants to see built is your relationship to Him. And if you are fixated with results and success and you're having that to a high, high degree, he just may introduce some different languages, some different perspectives that'll make your life frustrating enough that you will lean on to God, because that's what God wants. He wants you. You think about this thing. The next time you're frustrated, the next time you're angry. Are you angry because you're not getting your way? Or are you angry because God's not getting his way with you? Let's be that way. That's all I got for you this time on My Garage Bible Study. We'll see you next time.